Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, anywhere you're in the world. This is the VOS coming to you now from Carolina, USA, from England, and then from Canada. We produce a station in Canada. Today, on June 18th, we get a very important, prominent political player in Sierra Leone, where we think say he get a lot for say, and what he go say go help for enlighten we, for broaden we mind, for make we understand the system. Not only that, we get tremendous admiration for this guest because she's a fighter, you know. So once upon a time in America here, we used to have a senator called Hubert Humphrey, and he always said, "I'd rather talk to a man who have fought and failed than a man who has never fought at all." So Ms. Femi Claudius-Cole, now the perfect person who fits the expression as alone. When they ask you, say, how you do, you say with a photo and grab. She always gets up, you know. So, and these are the kind of fighters we need for the politics and the betterment of the country. Not to people that way easily timid, and we don't see videos and instances in which threats have been made, violence directed at her. So, and we are close to the election now. So she's one of the major voices in Sierra Leone. So we want for get in your input and also to the audience. And I think Ms. Claudia Cole know about that, but if you don't know, this is a show of interaction. It's live. Everything we say now is live. So, and the show goes to many countries around the world, to Sierra Leone, America, Australia, you name it. We got people who will be calling from all them places in the Sierra Leoneans particularly for express their interest or raise some questions. So we now interactive show, so we can always try to get people and for call in and ask for questions or make suggestions. So that's how big the show is. It gets, it goes far and wide. Also, we want, of course, Mr. Mengot, my co-host. My name is Mohammed Shilon. Mr. Mengot from England is my co-host. He's going to do the introduction of Miss Cole. And then, I might as well just go ahead and just let the audience know that when the show begins and when the show starts, if you get question, please call in. We do have a 3-minute rule. When you call, your question or your suggestion not for take more than 3 minutes. The reason being, if we get, let's say 5 people on the line, if everybody talk for more than 3 minutes, the last caller, the 5th caller will be holding for 15 minutes, which is a long time holding on the phone. So we'll try to accommodate as many people as we can. So please work with we. If we'll get a buzzer. When you don't run out of time, we'll go buzz you for alert you that the show, you time to run out. And if you get more for say, just go back to the beginning of the line. And then that way they will be able to accommodate everybody. Now try for beat the system and one for talk for 10 minutes because it will throw everything off. So with regular listeners, then they know the rules. So, but when they talk about the one day who might be listening to us today because of the guest, what we get, because sometimes the guests tend to attract the audience, you know? So we strongly encourage people then. But before I pass over to Mr. Mengo, I might as well just go ahead and give them phone number than we normally can give. Now, this is the VOS network. So we get numbers them, what we try for people and for reach we. And let me not forget, say, we are transmitted on VOA, on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and so on. In addition to WhatsApp and other media. Now, if you try for call from toll-free number, the number will be 1-866-944-7722. 1-866-944-7722. If you are calling from the United Kingdom, it will be plus the sign, the plus sign, 44 20 80 89 1455 plus 44 20 80 89 1455. If you're calling from Australia, it will be plus the plus sign again. 61 29 09 84 337. 60 plus 61 29 09 84 337. And last but not least, WhatsApp number, particularly if you're calling from within the States, it will be, or anywhere in the world, it will be 1-343-997-5828. 1-343-997-5828. So I'm going to pass you guys over to Mr. Mangum, Mr. Mengot, who will go do the introduction of a distinguished guest and who has really been so instrumental in putting the topics to be discussed today. So I turn it over to you, Mr. Mengot.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Mohammed, Brother Shilon, or Brother Mohammed. As usual, today now a very, very important day. Now the life we demand them. But now we get a situation where some woman them, now both husband, father, mother, and wife. So me where they talk to you now, me they call from the host from the UK and my own area, as you all know, now anything for do with governance and institutional reform. So today we get this wonderful guest. Now, personally, I don't admire for far. In fact, if I be young self who to be the go school, I for don't write a letter. But no, let's not go. But the first time I meet a remarkable lady, now on the eve of our 60th independence anniversary, a privilege for share a memorial trip with her to Bones Island. Where on that 60th anniversary, we go for good trace with history and with roots. And we all learn, and what to learn from that as a people, some of this, they affect our lives up to today. Especially when we come out now freedom. And in fact, now that thing I know say, that Bones Island and Tasso will be go get lunch, now part of the Freetown municipality. So you learn every day. So with this, we wonderful guests. First of all, we know say the same woman on the name John, but in Tima Skanga one pass on Monday, because for the fact that in the history of Sierra Leone, he able to organize the polity, we contest an election, it make an impact. People they know him. Even after the election done like some other party, they way election, then go sleep. You know, sleep is vibrant. I can wonder how I get this energy, and you can share our tweet today. He always say Twitter, you know, it support the woman them, and more apart from that, involved in giving back to the nation, involved for giving to charity, involved for empower people them. So these are the people we want in our society. So for start this conversation, as today is Father's Day, we all know the famous Dr. Cole, Edward Street, the one that we grew up in Freetown. We know say that clinic there because some people like to say, like the one that we get money, the posh one, and they say, who say you born? I born to Nurse Connie, or I born to Dr. Cole. So apart from the maternal care we been the give, maternal and child care, it been do a lot in other areas of. And so this is a man who left a legacy Mr. John Papa be ask one question. We all holding at this world, whose kind legacy you don't left. So we want know waiting, who then at this man way, na this famous Dr. Claudius-Cole. And waiting at the legacy where he don't left. Where in two girl picking and team up Tranga one because I watched the video where then they provide services on the 60th anniversary. So let me tell you about that in family contribution, especially in Papa, we want know about them. Because in Creole, we get certain saying them. They say if you are married woman, look in mama. If you are married man, look in papa. The same way, if you go for a woman, you don't make that woman there. So one know this man today. So Madam Claudius-Cole that will tell you that this man, how we don't celebrate this anniversary and how in legacy.
Well, if we get for talk about the man, believe it or not, we get for talk about in wealth.
Oh, definitely.
You know, they say behind every strong man, there is the woman. We mama Nabinda, strong supporter and woman will make a lot of things possible. We make the part able for accomplish a lot of things the way it accomplished. So I'm not going able for talk with the part in isolation of the mommy. Because as far as I can recall the history of the whole clinic, the original idea for opening the clinic na the mommy, because members say we mama na be midwife.
Oh, yeah, now we know.
Go England go study, the pa go study medicine, the mama go study midwifery for become a nurse, now they meet when they married. So when they first come home, the papa been work for government. Now I make me, them born me in Akono, my sister born in Abo, the one them born in England, and then one born in Kutorud na the hospital. So my mama na been the spine, I for say, for the whole organization we set up the clinic. And the mama and together as a team, they found the clinic, and they run them not for money, but along the line they were successful in running the hospital. Then they call them DFG, Do for God Hospital, where they're not ever put money first when they treat people. And even as small children, we will always participate. We've been tapped up, the hospital been there done. So even if woman and they born, whatever they happen, we always been somehow integrated into the whole hospital system. It was like a family. Even the nurses them, and then go plant we then Sunday for school on Monday. So eventually we move Common Hospital Kaya. So as a family, we all be involved in the clinic somehow. And Usai God really blessed their legacy, and Usai making really tell Boku Tenki, as much as we get a lot of doctors and nurses in the family, my sister when at the second born, in go medical school, and in now they run the hospital pretty much along the lines, just like how my papa been they do. I mean, this is a different economic climate, obviously, where things have to be paid, nurses get for pay and this and stuff like that. But our HIV patients on the whole, she sees them for free. And I think if you look in the broad spectrum of hospitals around Sierra Leone, we are one of probably the most reasonable and never turn a patient away. We'll never ever turn a patient away. So when it came to the 50th anniversary of when the clinic opened, we did a free medical outreach, very successful, and then we follow them up with a prayer service. So now when it turned 60, we decided for doing over 2 days. I think the first time we've been doing over a day, I don't remember. But this time around, we did it over 2 days. By 4 o'clock morning, patients and all line up na Edward Street. We took permission. We even forget the tent. We no go really disturb, but we were blessed. We are not ambogui at all. We saw a total of 1,000. I think it's 1,380 something patients. Now we saw women, children, babies, everybody. Kumbra all man. There was no discrimination. We gave tests. We did tests for them, malaria tests, HIV testing, diabetes testing, and we gave free drugs. And we really say thank you to a couple of pharmacies that really donate. So we, as well as the amount of we self-purchase. It was done in their memory, and the amount of God will bless you the way we get made it all worthwhile. I mean, we were all exhausted at the end of the day, but the community appreciated our efforts. We retainers, families of retainers, they were all so grateful. We get patients the way we even do procedure for. I think some man been get some abscess where them plead. We go one baby where we been get for admit, where in mama not be even get any money. Where we don't, the baby was so sick, we don't treat him, wait time for go, he say you not get transport. And some of the nurses were, we don't mean you now, you say you not get transport. I said, you not get transport. Una go get this small money. I beg. When you see person don't tell you that, don't not question them again. So it was very revealing, very fulfilling exercise done in the memory, and we're not done it for celebrate. We still get a memorial service where we go to church and tell God thank you.
Well, thank you very much, and we all appreciate, and we self know the number of people that we don't go to that institution. And even me co-host here himself, I tell you what, he said, give me one story. Say the time they prepare for go America, he be get a protruding toenail. So he been go to the park for go remove that protruding toenail. They say go wear suits for blood for go America. So we get somebody here will benefit from that.
Indeed.
So with all this introduction, I will start now. Then I go hand over to my co-host. We go take it. Yeah, and he go take you to. Then we start with the first pathway while I talk to we about where the co-host, my co-host, will reach you through. Now this issue about all in chamot way they behind you not being given. I watch them, I follow you, interview them, I follow on a PPRC, I follow some of the evidence that we produce. You know, some of you board with we show all the letter, picture, and everything, but not all man privilege information there. So for take you through that, I go hand you over to me hosts. There is Brother Mohammed Shilon for let's start the program, particularly for look at the involvement in the politics, and at least some people like say you don't be a thorn in the flesh of the system, but others say you're a blessing to us. So over to you, sir.
All right. Thank you. I'm glad you mentioned my contact with the Cole Clinic many years ago. That was in 1970. I had this ingrowing toenail. So I get for travel. It was winter time in the United States. I know I get for wear secured shoes for deal with the weather. So my sister, Mrs. Nafisatu Thomas Nahabadin, my older sister, they say, let's go to Dr. Cole. So I say, okay. So we go. Dr. Cole look at him. Dr. Cole say, you get for pull this toenail. He say, now I say, well, doc, the toenail, I go to America 2 days from now. If you pull the toenail, how I go wear shoes? They say, well, the toenail, they infect the flesh right now. But if you pull the toenail, the infection will be less. You will be sore, but you will be able to put your foot inside the shoe and make you trip, which actually that's what happened, you know? And so in a nutshell, even me in 1970, I had, and it was a serious operation because he was taking the entire nail off. But I had new experience with Dr. Cole. And, you know, all I remember was that he was a very nice man. So I am one of the beneficiaries of the Cole Clinic. You know, that said, I've always been curious, man, because I know, say, you are highly capable of responding to accusations, you know, innuendos, finger pointing. I know that nobody needs to speak for you. You can speak, you can ably defend yourself. But the thing that has always been perplexing to me, there have been this word out there, say you submit fake papers. Number one, do you know who's putting that information there out there? And is there any truth to it?
I know who's putting the information out there. I do. And the information is being put out there by PPIC workers themselves. The chairman, all the way down to the executive secretary, the publicity person, they are all responsible for that narrative. So they are the ones putting it out there. And that is the reason why a lot of people believe it is true. Because when you hear the chairman of the PPIC on the media saying, I do not have offices, and the chairman of PPIC knows better, he knows better because he's in possession of the fact. So everybody will believe it. When it is in reality an utter lie. It is a lie. The chairman knows not only do I have offices, he knows which office, he has the addresses of the office. We even gave them the contacts of the office people. Unfortunately, office staff are never reliable. They do change from time to time. Some areas, like in the Bo office, the office manager changed. They have a second one. The same for the Kenema office. Is a second person we have now. But like McKinney office too, I think we changed once, just on the reliability of people, that's all. But there's always somebody in the office from 10 to 3. So it's PPIC. PPIC is the one putting out the narrative.
And this is a false narrative, isn't it?
The false narrative. No, let's not even call it the false narrative. Let us call it what it is, the lie. The outright lie.
All right.
And we make it quite clear that we have offices in Freetown, in Bo, in McKinney, and in Kenema. The only district that we do not have an office in is Port Loko. Remember, Port Loko was only added when they had the new regulation. So even the PPIC did not have an office in Port Loko. Port Loko was never one of those offices that was mandated. So that's the only office that we do not have.
Okay, ma'am. Well, what you don't understand, Naya, if this is false, the chairman of the PPRC knowingly they put false information out there. How, by what authority was he able to disqualify your party? Because I know
it's a disgrace. And that's a disgrace. So what they have done, they have created, they did so, they say, on 3 grounds. The first is we do not have offices where we say we have offices. We do not have, we're lying. The second, we didn't do lower level elections. Now, in the beginning, we went to PPIC and we said, because we're a growing political party, we do not have the numbers of the 2 giants. We wanted to go straight and do our district elections. Once we have our district executives in place, they can then cascade the message of the party to the constituency and develop a constituency executive and then down to the ward. They said no. We had to begin from ward. We said fine. So we began our planning, sent out, we first of all went on like a fact-finding mission, spoke to those who had been part of Unity Party in 2016, 2017, to expand our reach, take our message out there, introduce ourselves, and see if we could get other people on board. So that was our first trip that we did to all the districts except for Falaba. As we went along, we engaged people. We began talking with them and we began planning to have the ward elections and the constituency elections. So once we had done that reconnaissance mission, we then went and did the lower level elections. We sent letters to PPIC. We're in Pujang, so date, so time, so place. But working up country is not simple. Some areas we were not sure of where in the final analysis we would have the election. Some people pulled out on us. We engaged the venue, at the last minute they would pull out. So there were areas where we were not sure, and we told them this, that these are to be announced. The letters we sent to them, we said, these are TBAs. We will know closer to the time, finally, where we will be. But this is where we're going to be. We plan on being. They're claiming that they had no idea where any of our elections were being held. But each time we take a letter to PPRC, they sign the way book. They sign the way book. And each time we say we're going country, we use just one vehicle, which is our Hilux, a Toyota Hilux. That's our Jackass vehicle. That's the vehicle that goes up country. And each time you move, you go through toll gates, 3 toll gates for each travel going and 3 toll gates each travel returning. In a worst case analysis, if we want to do a really thorough investigation, we can go to the toll, pull up records for this license plate number, verify it with the dates we told you we were having elections, because we gave them toll receipts, but they disregarded them. They didn't examine them. And I said, the beauty of the toll receipt, it gives you the time that you're crossing the toll. It gives you the license plate number of the toll. So there's a lot of things I have to put together to falsify these records. I must fake human beings. I must fake a location. I must even fake the police who are present at the election. There's a lot I need to concoct. So if I am telling a whole battery of lies, it is very simple for the PPIC to investigate diligently, even casually, and establish the truth. So we called a press conference. So after all the elections were done, we sent them a letter giving them the list of the names of the executives from the wards to the constituencies in the areas of our strength. It is not in the 430 something wards. It is those wards where we have people. I cannot manufacture members in a lab. I can only give you the names of the members that we have. And that was what we gave them. They are claiming that we didn't. All that we said we did was fake. And based on that, they sent a communication to the ECSL telling them that we didn't meet the criteria and were disqualified from contesting. Now, we even went as far as to organize our convention, which they knew about. We told them. We applied to the police for police clearance, and the police gave it. At the convention, I think the scale of Unity Party's convention took them by surprise. It caught them off guard. The police came to the convention on the instructions of PPRC to claim that we did not have police clearance to hold it. And the secretary gave them the police clearance. And they left. They took a picture of it and they left. And they came back about an hour later, rescinding our clearance. Unheard of. Rescinding our police clearance and disrupted our convention. It was going to be over 2 days. So the second day, they told the venue that if the venue should not allow us back, blah, 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 blah. So the morning of the second day, the secretary went back to PPRC and said to them, if you believe that our lower levels were fake, right now, all the executives from all the districts are in town, they're in the office. We can come to you or you can come to us and you can verify the authenticity of these people. Check their cards, their voter ID cards, check whatever you need to check to see if they are genuine. From Pujao is from Pujao. Moyamba was from Moyamba. Kenema was from Kenema. And you can interview them in person. They refused. They said they were busy. They then claimed that they made phone calls. They called, I'm not sure if they called all 120 something of the executives. I am not sure how many they called. And they told them that they were not in unity. They were APC members. Some said they were civil society. So we wrote a letter saying, we want to have a meeting with you because we also did an audit of who and who were called. These are numbers we gave them. So our audit revealed 4 people who gave contrary information. So the ratio of 4 to 126. How do they do their statistics to conclude beyond all reasonable doubt that all 126 people were fake? I think 4 out of 26, and these are people who could stand and explain why they said what they said. Some claimed it was the way they were interviewed. They were scared. Tell me, they scared from me woke. Then those kind, they asked me no more, who's party today? What you do? They were very, and even when you listen, they have audio of some of the calls they made. Those recordings of the calls that they made reveals a lot also. So with all that put together, they concluded. And so we then sent them letters. I have text messages that I sent to them requesting a meeting with the chairman of the commission and some of the commissioners. I said, removing a political party from an election as crucial as this must be done on a solid foundation. You must have good reasoning to do it. You're actually shutting the democratic doors in my face, in Unity Party's face, and it's unacceptable. You must only do it if you're sure of your facts. You must prove beyond all reasonable doubt that UP deserves to be disenfranchised. They never gave us that opportunity. They never even wrote us a letter saying we were disqualified. Never. They never did. They simply communicated to ECSL, and that was it.
Now,
so
go ahead.
We had a meeting with the party, and we all came to the conclusion that we're going to appeal in the courts. So I can announce that we have a court date finally tomorrow. And we're going to be seated in front of Justice Fisher. So perhaps we will get justice. I pray we will get justice. I hope we will get justice.
Well, that was going to be my question. With me being a lawyer, I always feel for democracy to work, you have to have the 3 main arms of government working on all cylinders. We talk about the legislature, which is parliament. We talk about the executive, and we talk about the courts, who have generally been missing in action. And they are not, the courts have become so inefficient and so inept. They have not allowed the system to work because politicians will always encroach on the powers of parliament. They will always encroach on the powers of parliament and the other branches, because their thing is always a matter of grabbing for power. This is what they will normally do. Some of them as a deliberate act, some of them as just a pretentious way, acting as if they don't know any better. But for the system to work, because we keep missing, there are a lot of things that, like what you just described, so it seems to me, under a well-settled structural system, you should have been able to have an injunction against these folks immediately, the same day or the next day. So they now will just disqualify you because we talk about irreparable harm. Because the disqualification puts you in a position, there is no way you can make yourself whole again. because of the way the system is not structured. So most times, an injunction is to have the court, without getting into the merits of the case, to say, hey, look here, we need the court to intervene, because if you do not intervene, irreparable harm will be caused to me and other people where we're not going to be able to make them right. So in this sense now, what happened? These people got away with what you would say murder, in the sense that they just make up falsehood. And these are government officials, and this is the sad part about it. And this shows how much disregard we have for the system. And it shows how much disregard those who are fighting to be employed by the system to become politicians, most of them, they also care about improving the system. They just want to come in and take the opportunity for enrich themselves, for short circuit the process. Because why would a major government agency of this or like this get the power for just disqualify? I wonder what Justice Fisher would say. I would like to say, I would like for know what you get for say with respect to what happened to you.
So would I. So would I. So would I. I go like for way. I mean, as much as I have my tongue in the cheek about Sierra Leone's judiciary, I would love to hear PPIC defend their position. Because the evidence that we have, look, with a match, the letter where we send to the webbook, to the toll receipt, to the photographs and the videos. I would love to see them stand in a court of law. Remember, the chairman of PPIC is himself a lawyer. He's a lawyer. So, you know, when they tell you institutions in Sierra Leone are broken, when they tell you that as a country we're on life support, this is the evidence of it. And you know what baffles me is, and you know, I'm yet to get into the court, so it can't be, what do they call it, sub judice? It can't be sub judice because I haven't got to court yet. But what I would love is somebody from PPIC to tell in a court, name a political party and give us the addresses of their offices. You say Ms. Claudius-Cole doesn't have. Those that, some of them that you have given clearance to participate, where are their offices? Where are any image, any, you know, it's baffling. It really is baffling.
And I will hope procedurally, I'm not as familiar with the procedure back home, but to be able to present an efficient case, I think you guys should subpoena the chairman as a witness for Una, because there are certain factual admission he will have to go by. You know, if Una subpoena as Una witness, he will have to admit, is it not a fact that such and such happened? Because if he lies under oath, he will be committing an offense. So I think part of the process should be get these folks, the chairman and some others.
I'm not going to play dead. I am going to go. Yes.
Yeah.
I am going to go all out. All out. If you say I am a liar, then you are innocent and you are being truthful, then it must all be exposed. And I mean, we're now in the court of public opinion. And nothing should be off the table. And I don't think my lawyers are going to compromise in any shape or form. I think we're going to go for the truth, no matter how long it takes. There are people who are even ridiculing the fact that we are going to court. What do you hope to achieve, Ms. Claudius-Cole? You think you can nominate? I said, if you do not understand the principle on which I am fighting, then keep on clapping.
Well, this is the sad part. This is the sad part about our system. If we want with democracy for function, if we want with democracy for be progressive, we cannot continue to have people who come to power and undermine or kneecap the structures them in place. This is what I see happening. I think it's about time the judiciary take its role. Important that they are a co-equal branch of government, and there are so many contradictions in the Constitution as things are now. I'll give you a good example. In our Constitution, the clerk of parliament is appointed by the president. It's a ridiculous appointment. Nobody in parliament should be appointed by someone from the executive for any kind of job, even messenger work. Okay? Just as parliament not for appoint anybody for go working at the executive. But we have such a system. Where did they get that from? Which country they learned that from? Okay? We get situations where the Constitution say a census shall be taken once every 10 years. Then they turn around, then say, but at the pleasure of the president, I'm paraphrasing, the president, as he sees fit, can call a midterm election. You cannot. This is what we lawyers need to learn. I know constitutional law is a new thing to we own system. And most of the lawyers, I see they're not defending clients on constitutional grounds. They're not raise due process arguments. They're not raise equal protection arguments. But when you say the Constitution says shall, no act of parliament can contradict that by giving the president another power for called midterm election. It's illegal. So I'm just puzzled. I say, you mean lawyers do not see this for challenge that? You know, the president should never ever have the power for called midterm election, not when the Constitution say it's once every 10 years. That should be it. And we need for no say, now a constitutional democracy we get. Parliament is subject to the Constitution, not in the old days when they say Parliament was the supreme law of the land which in the past, that's it. It cannot be questioned. Now we get a Constitution. Any law where Parliament pass, it therefore be consistent with the dictates of the Constitution, otherwise it's illegal. Lawyers should start getting into challenging illegal. There are so many things. You see, when you get this election, guys, where they think so they can do that and get away with it, and then they ask you, say, what do you think so you will get? This is how much contempt they have for the system. And unless we get the system back in shape, we will never, ever get the country for run. I mean, you cannot run a car on 3 wheels if it's made to run on 4. You see, this is the problem. And so if Parliament, if the judiciary, another case I always cite, Sierra Leone. I mean, it just troubles me with the weakness of the judiciary. You take the Kamarimba case. I don't know this man. I know of in case. Okay. Besides, the evidence is ample that it was a cooked-up charge. But if in a constitutional country this, how can you lock this man up for months? You know, under the charge, we want to charge him to the point of convicting him when he was very sick. And we say we get lawyers them, we get able lawyers them. These are some of the things that would trouble me in Australia. The lawyers are not I don't know why lawyers are even subjecting their clients to trial by judge alone. You have a much better chance for win your case if you do it by jury. So, but I've had lawyers say, oh, well, I said, but your client no say, get option, forget 12 people, for be judged by peers. Well, you say, yeah, but it will take long, this and that. I don't believe it. Because anybody will know anything about trial work in that system or in this system, you are always better off with a jury of 12. Because you see, the thing about the jury of 12, even if they're not found you guilty, they all may not see things the way, and they have to find you guilty unanimously. So when I see lawyers and they talk, say, oh, I see certain people who've been convicted by Justice Fisher, Justice Taylor, like the entertainer, then I do wonder. You get an entertainer, a young man, I don't know, LAJ or whatever his name is. The accusation is that he and in group then go in a gas station, then so pandemonium take place, then they drive off. He's accused with robbing the gas station of how much? I mean, let's be realistic. Is that the country we want? Then they took him immediately, then go lock him up, then catch him here, then end up being convicted. In most countries, here, England, first of all, that's a misdemeanor. Second of all, if he has no prior record, criminal record, there will be no factual basis to give him an active time in prison. So our judges need better training. So if we talk for improve the system, Samura Kamara, Mr. Bio, and all the people that will run, unless we get with system back on the fundamentals, we're not going to get anywhere. And the judiciary plays a very important role, because where do you go when you get treated by the PCSRC? Where do you go? If the courts now get the power for step in. And we get examples in Africa. We've seen it in Kenya, where Kenya courts even overturn a presidential election. So it's not like we're without precedent. But I just say that for just make you know, say some of us are bothered. That's why I happen to be one of those guys. I'm not an APC, SFPP supporter. I've always argued there are two sides of the same coin. Neither one of them capable of doing any better than the other. But that's just my humble opinion. Okay? But I think, and then, you know, there's effort also for squeeze the small party them out. That should be unconstitutional. I don't think say that should happen. I think it's good for democracy. So there are a lot of things, but I'm not running. You're the politician. So we just appreciate the fact that you can come and give me this situation, explain the situation to we as it is now. Let me go back to Mr. Mengot. Then dominate everything.
Yes, Madam Femi, taking off from what he say, I want you to clarify one point for me before I go to the next part, right? According to the PPRC, an organization we created to a constitution, say, now then for first them in call them Political Party Registration Commission. Now they don't call them regulatory. Yeah. They don't change the R to regulation. Now, one thing I want to clarify, they don't use reason for where for contest the election according to them, which they go court for. Yeah. But are you still a registered political party in Sierra Leone? That's why they exclude you from this particular election.
The party has not been deregistered. If it is, I do not know.
Exactly.
Even my qualification from these elections, I have no shred of documentation between them and our party. There is no communication. They are even to the Secretary General. They are Secretary General of Unity Party. The PPRC wishes to inform you that you no longer qualify to participate in the June 24, 2023 election. No such letter was ever. Nothing. To us. Nothing. All our requests for meetings with the commission, and I said I do not want to meet with the secretary. I want to have a meeting with the chairman of the commission and some of the commissioners, even if not all the commissioners. We sent a letter to all the commissioners individually. We copied all of them. They never so much as responded to say, we're not going to meet with you, we're busy. Because during our elections, they said they were busy with APC. And I asked them, can you not work and chew gum at the same time? you want to, now you ask for more powers. You have been given all these powers. So you can't take care of two political parties simultaneously. So you want Unity Party to go and sit in a corner and wait for you until you are done with APC? APC's issues were very, very huge. So you have no time for Unity Party. And now you are claiming we are fraudulent. And the gentleman, Lucien Momo, who works for PPIC as the publicity, something or the other, stood in the middle of an ECSL meeting. And he was spewing the same lies. He was there. I kid you not. We are living in a banana republic. I kid you not.
Okay, we get that distance.
No
One
shame at
of
all.
the things,
A grown man that is paid from the consolidated fund, standing in the middle of an ECSL meeting, and he's lying through his teeth. Baffling.
okay, one of the Tiwale viewers they know.
Who that captured them?
One of the Tiwale viewers they know. We know say other case than they regarding ECSL with the other two, the APC and the other one. In your own case, let's simplify for every nakana kriyo because ukile kupikule say this court case where you can go.
Fine.
What till they ask the court for do? Because like me for know now, from waiting and day, if me not consultant, I know if I work for a client, the client say I get false information or I not do the work. The first thing we me go look for reputational damage. Right? Because if you say I lie or I not perform your duty, then it's a reputational damage. So I see in a way for them for say you as an individual, there's some reputational damage elements in there. Then there's also the issue of if you look at equal rights in participation in our constitution, you understand, for give everybody open space for let them take part in the democratic process. So in your own case, what do you want let the judge determine? You want let them determine, say ECSL they're wrong, not ECSL PPRC they're wrong, or you put also together say not only they're wrong, but they usurp some of my rights, and they also make sure say I lost financially. So explain that for me.
Well, we don't really go from, especially from the messing up of the convention, we could have gone the financial angle. But for me, what it is now, it's the core principle. Because people then go ask you, and even when we engage international communities, they always say, but why didn't, what did you do? So my answer would be, Asidona Osa Grumbulte, Agona Media, Agrumbute, I took no action. So for me, I want the judge to look at the facts. Look at the facts that are placed before him and tell the public and tell me to my face that all the evidence paraded in front of him is all fake. Because if we're going to present witnesses, I will make sure that all the chairman and number one go safe after convention. And they've all spoken in the media. They've all were interviewed by doing our press conference. One of them said, they phoned me. They asked me, whose party you dey? Who's still do election? What in your position? He himself came and was testifying to the media that PPIC called me, and this was their tone. So for me, I am asking the judge to establish the disqualification of the Unity Party. Was it right or was it wrong? Was Unity Party telling the truth? And I would like clear answers if it is possible. Not answers, I don't know. I'm waiting for my day in court. Let me not presuppose. I'm going to keep an open mind. The case is very clear. Let the judge tell me. If Nala Unity Party lie, we're listening.
Thank you very much. Let's move away from the Unity Party for this moment, right? This week, now a critical week in our country, right? And as you can tell some people, myself included and my co-hosts, we are just young, but we get the first experience in 67 when we get election. When at the first election after independence, before then I mean first knowledge of waiting they happen because I've been ready for secondary school and then day. You know, that 67 election will be tense. When I
was born in 61.
okay, never mind. Now, so now we don't hear baby talk. Okay, we don't hear baby talk, but this other beast will get. Because remember, we get two beasts, not one we they deal with. I know they say beast in the derogatory way or bad way. Not to, let's say we get two agbagba, like use Creole. Yeah? We get the PPRC on one point, right? They'll get what to be called neck. When and now they don't change, they don't crease in them. Just like how they crease in the PPRC, they don't crease in neck to ECSL, Electoral Commission of Sierra Leone. Now what they prepare for this election, people then concerned about three things. Number one, that ID card with them put where some man na shadow, where they name themselves not tally. Secondly, the voter register. Then while you talk to them, it became very important, you know, because in Sierra Leone, let people know. So because me go tell people them, because me a person we know about governance and institution, you understand? When they say, oh well, the ECSL commissioner independent, he can act on his own. But remember, I tell somebody say we get a law in Salo where they call access information. We even get right to access information commissioner, which means say me as a citizen, right? I get right for demand information from any institution, including the ECSL. So if I say now, me in Amari come off Fulatom, that area there I come out, I want to know almost people they register na that area there. Almost polling station and they almost people they register. I forget that information. Then the other two way people they concerned about. The third thing, because I put it all together and get you. The third thing, now this business of the ballot paper then. Because the concern about the ballot paper, just like when them in tell we, but the card, say it come out grease, air traffic control strike when they take place, where then the notice where them in the strike dates not be reached yet for the tell the plane for fly. Then later on, then tell we say, sorry, the delay, we will get two people there for fly kind side. But me work in our parliament, the airport as well, na salon. We don't know plane we land from Greece we bring their identity card. We don't know if na Greece then come out, they not tell we. Similarly, the ballots now. They say the paper they not carry it, but we don't get other ballot paper the way they don't conduct election for them, the way they go Hajj. Who said them print them ballot paper then they? But we expect them from South Africa. So what much panenti the ID card, the information where people in the talk, and the ballot paper. And this begin when they don't begin vote say, well, the ACL then they agree say the political party say the one the way they go Hajj, a presidential election no more than for vote for. They not vote for the other one. So what much panel talk then they and give us a general impression of the ECSL and then tear away vital where people are wondering, they want people they want solution. They want in a way then at the ground. Tell me how you see the whole game they play.
Well, me for one, not so yesterday I begin call attention to ECSL. Even when they begin to talk about this new electoral laws, they already they pull Nadora. We were then a cop. We don't raise the alarm. Send me the way Dr. Dennis Bright request, ask them, say, we for do an ethnic audit of the, because then get the one the way they sack, then get the one the way they hire, then get the one the way they promote. We don't raise the alarm from, it's almost 2 years now. We don't raise that alarm day. Me don't they go PPLC meetings. At PPLC meetings, me don't they talk say ECSL as an institution has been captured.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Not
For
only
viewers
this
them,
week, but
no what they use them
for them,
here. No explain to
they
them. PPLC
a
and a
long time.
political party liaison
They
committee.
don't capture them. Yes, political party liaison committee with a meet
Yes.
every 2 weeks. When an issue arises, the first issue now be when they done that them botched census. ECSL now been the first institution where right to start Sierra Leone requesting the data, the numbers of the statistics. Then tell we say, then one for do begin for work on the redistricting. SLPP don't they work from the answer to the sum from as far back as the census. Waiting with the see so now from the product of that census date, now born all them picking their own, they see they got in they be the old they see so now. When they went to PPLC meeting, where they begin talk about the districting, the chairman tinapna PPLC meeting, they tell me say either him or commissioner for South and Monalpha, they don't go far. They don't go far on the districting. All of a sudden, and then come off through. Why? Because the census was proven to be faulty. The numbers were faulty. When we mean they talk, they lock me up. When we mean they talk, they lock me up. But it ended up that the numbers from the Ministry of Education, the numbers from the Ministry of Health, the picking that alone where they give my plates equal to the number where they say we already fit on. So the numbers began to show that the census they did was not credible. So using those numbers to do his districting, Canton bone na them throat. So then go back na the Usai ever, then go Usai then they put volunteer, then go come up now say no. If this district is not get for work, because they wanted to add, I understand, 3 new districts, all in the stronghold of the SLP. When they realized that the district is not get for come fine, then they went back to the drawing board and came up with the PR system. And his excuse, this is the man waiting up inside PPLC meeting, they tell me say, then they on the organization, they don't go far panam to tell us that time did not permit for them to do the redistricting. So they are going to go with PR. The day when they can announce what PR in a PPLC meeting, for the first time since me they attend PPLC, they had guards, armed police guarding the doors of the conference room. Me, first of all, they're not being grilla enter. They're not grilla go inside. Soldier man there with gun. When finally, I don't know who that can do, now I can talk to them when they grilla go inside the conference room. Political parties liaison committee meeting. From that time, they now know say this PR not get for bongo people. His excuse was there's no time. Now say you waiting up now, yeah, this very conference room, they tell me say I don't go far on a planning. So the PR system was now thrust upon us. And it was designed and created to exclude political parties, all political parties, except for the 2 main political parties. That was the role of the PR. Why else would you prepare the PR that they brought is so even people today do not know what we're in for, and we supposedly they vote Saturday. Somehow when they contest, still not know the arithmetic where they get for calculate for this PR. Left PR force. Then we go back to voter registration. Then call police for me 210 for registration. My registration centers. Why were they wanting to arrest me? Why one old truckload OSD coming Nadwazak? Was because I was insisting that candidates be given rejection slips. So the number of people that were, but still yet, even though the disenfranchised of people, not just first-time voters, the turnout of people that went to register was so high in certain areas, it caused them to panic. Inside them panic, they get locked down only in their own strongholds. Look, the married we get for better, you don't know from the bachelors. We don't know say this election get now with what from that point on. I am not shocked. So when we see after all that process, when we go check, we names them. Me or sister, your name not appear at all. In name not then at the board, in face not then at the board, you know it's. I don't know if now because of your school. Well, imagine how many Koromas and Banguras are there. So man in face, no man in face black letter. We began asking questions about the $10 million way back when. The PPIC was captured a long time ago. As far as this is all their game plan. We saw busloads of people coming from Guinea, from Liberia, from here, there, and the other. We saw minors. We saw political players in schools, primary schools, talking about children going to vote. So now that it has come to the crunch, pull the voter data now. You know what, you think we'll not have 8-year-old Pekin who will see in picture? We'll not have 10-year-old Pekin who will see in picture? So that is why the data of the voters registered don't fashion inside PPLC then vote. Because the voter register will tell the story of what happened in their stronghold. Now I make the no one pull up. And they must. So the mechanism of rigging this election goes deep. Goes very deep. The money on that is for another day, the money where they chop and whatever they do. But now let us come to the ballot papers. You tell us one day that ballot papers arrive on Saturday. At no point in any PPLC meeting or any meeting with the parties going to contest, did you tell them that voter papers, ballot papers were going to be printed in Sierra Leone? They're asking the question, how many Hajj pilgrims are there? There were Hajj pilgrims that were even turned away. How many? What is the total number of those going to Hajj? PCSL, you're not able to answer that question, eh? You're not able to tell the public. You're not give political parties the chance for let them get or monitor the elections. Did you accredit anybody? How many ballots did you print in Freetown? Why would you order ballot papers to arrive?
I think we
there some
moment. Yes, for the viewers, until we guests come back, until we all know say in a salon in the talk form, then we will get sometimes get connectivity problem or EDSA or lights don't go off. You know? But once we guests they come on, one thing while we look at, now we reflect waiting you don't see. And for inner the viewers them, we listeners them, in another area from person on the ground. So now we get a situation where yes, we guests don't come back. Madam Cole, you're back. Can you hear? Can you hear us?
Now you see me. Now you don't.
Yeah.
Well, I've been not explaining for you. So carry on, ma.
Yeah. So who said una print the ballot papers? The ECSL have been the champion for any electoral malpractice that we are going to see. The ECSL is part and parcel of a plan to deny the people of Sierra Leone their moments to exercise their franchise. Why you they deny them? I remember at a PPLC meeting, I asked Commissioner Edmond Alpha, I said, if person go take in card no day, it will not happen. And I'm Claudius-Cole, it won't happen. Everybody will have their card. One million no stay now, we not getting card. Then say go here, then go wait, stay, then go keep them at door, go na moriton, you go dedete for issue in voters ID card now turn problem. But for me, there are many questions. One, you forced us into a PI system. You say na district voting. Why do you want to go and tally the votes in region? According the electoral laws not tell you that. We don't use for cons, IIF, you post them at the wall. Now you tell us that they're going to be tallied by an app. So should political parties not be part and parcel of whatever system we're using? Is it a secret society between the ECSL and the executive? And he said it on camera. England, he said, then go give you red card. Who don't know like go court. So the plan to rig these elections, the ECL cannot be ignorant of it. If they are ignorant, then shame on them. Because number one, why haven't you released the data register? The disaggregated data would only ask for over 3 months for the disaggregated data. If people can collect their voters' ID cards from the correct center, then you have the data. You have the data. But you do not want to give it to political parties. Why? You don't want to see the underage. You don't want us to see the duplicity. Something is wrong somewhere. And if it begins to wag its tail and it has 2.0 years, it looks like a dog, trust me, it's a dog. It's a dog. And right now, there is zero trust. There is zero confidence in the way and manner how the ECSL has composed it. They have composed themselves. There is no trust that they are even competent. They are not competent to hold free, fair, and credible elections in Sierra Leone. All things are secret. When you ask, they say they know, they tell you. We want to know, where did you purchase this? You say in Greece. How many cards did you produce in Greece? How many cards came to Sierra Leone? How many people? How many ballot papers have you printed? So the ballot papers will arrive in the morning, but they printed in somewhere in the southeast. If you printed for Hajj, how many did you print? How many did you print? Are we supposed to be afraid to ask these questions? I think not. The ECSL has completely forgotten who they are working for. And we need to remind them you're working for the Sierra Leonean people. You are being paid from the consolidated fund, not to anybody in pocket. Then they pull money for payuna. And you should do right by the public. And the public we've been waiting to exhale. We all don't wait for exhale. We've been waiting to have our credible elections where we vote for the leadership that we want. In my case, it absolutely is not Brigadier Marabu. It isn't. It isn't. I want to have my opportunity to know that when I vote, my vote is going to be counted. Una no go don't get the answer, then una can't answer with una say una go court. Why are we suddenly seeing militarization of Sierra Leone? Not of freedom no more than they militarize. Soldiers with armored. Elections happened in 2018. Why did we not see all this? And the SLPP won. You won, and there was no need for this. People were not beaten in opposition strongholds. They were not. the homes of opposition. In fact, then they broke people like us now, APC people now, they can't even tell who is who. Then go government to have, then broke all the people like us. They arrested so many people because the SFPP is afraid of losing an election. Oh, no, let's God in hand. If you have worked hard for the people of Sierra Leone, you will be duly compensated. You will be duly compensated. You don't need to arrest everybody. You don't need to intimidate everybody. You don't need to make us feel safe in our own country because we have elections. It is totally unacceptable. The ECSL is an utter disgrace as far as I am concerned. And that is my honest opinion.
Okay, not
because of the way I was treated. Not because of the way I was treated, but because of the way I see they want to treat the people of Sierra Leone. And when our president talks, have you noticed his conversation? He says them and us. Una help me ask him, Una na the them, and Una na the we. Are you governing now by region? Let us know.
Okay, thank you very much, ma. Before we go to the next slide, before we go to the next slide, where me co-host will take you through. Yeah, before we go to the next slide, where me co-host will take you through, right?
All man they for life.
Okay, ma. Before we go to the next slide, where me co-host will take you through, because I'm going to talk to you more about your role in a COP, the alliance, and everything. Me on final two I will ask you. As a prominent politician, we get what I call we partners them. Although generally people the international community. I mean, as you say, independence speaking, some of we know independence. On the one hand, we can say, let nobody not put much power. We talk Salona sovereign the nation. We're not gonna forget outside interference. But I'm not saying you don't interact a lot with the international partner, be it multilateral way at the European Union, or bilateral way at EU, or global way at UNDP. So, what's your impression of them different partners here, their role in this whole process? You think say they're going to make sure say we get some semblance of seriousness in what they do, or then go able to be, as people like you call them, they serve as moral guarantors, and your impression with them, waiting at their role. Because the one time then they say we don't need them because we see one of the commissioner they will say nobody no go tell you what to go do what you want to do. But waiting at you, how you think say them people there for work with we, for make things easier for the ordinary Sierra Leonean. That mami with a Congo market. Or so we forgot express that one great right say we're going in democratic rights.
For me, first of all, one particular phrase the way Anolek, which I reject completely, and that is they are our moral guarantors.
Yeah, I just put an there for tease you.
If Union cannot particularly me, eh?
Yes.
If Union cannot be, if we cannot be our own moral guarantors, then we are in trouble. If we are expecting the Americans for left their country where with their own problem, their country function. The Europeans go left Europe where the Europe they function. Then commodity. We don't ask for independence from 1961. We're not able to get that we self like a start kakite 2023. Then they come up pongyanda. For can be with moral guarantors now. Then we are backing up the wrong tree. The international community that we don't do on ground, they are here as observers. Usai we tell them Boku Tenki, and I do appreciate them, especially that they have come earlier than they usually do. They have come in larger numbers than they usually do. From the European Union to the United States to ECOWAS, I tell them Boku Tenki. Because certain things and they way their presence alone will deter. We saw what impact their presence had in Samaya Bendugu. SLPP be one win that election day by hook or by crook. But that was just one side. Only 3 or 4 by-elections happened that day. Now we're looking at the entire country. Sierra Leoneans are going to have to step up, and we are going to have to be our own moral guarantors. For that person, we no say it is struggle, it is strain for it, for feeding pikin, for men the way they sick. He see the wrong thing they go on, he turn him back. Then he wait for EU or he wait for UK. For can watch me back for we. We all are going to have to watch our own backs. The president talk and say not going to protect we. We not be known and be the way they talk. We not go get for protect to step. Similarly, Sierra Leoneans are going to have we go for OPWI like mountain fat food. Also, you see ballot box they can in full one. Not pretend as if you not see. The numbers they get for the book, who they get for post for let people and call where they city where they go wrong. And Usai me go as polling agents. If God make a guess, I will myself they go catch as polling agent. And I see that Kadeke they go, we're ready for shoot me because I will not turn a blind eye. I will be a moral guarantor for my own station. The eyes of the international community are upon us. Will that make these people have restraint? When I say make these people, they want the way hide their face. We go beat people them. They want the way right now. I say not to come on Timbina Pujeun today. Will the eyes of the international world deter them? It will help, but it not will solve all the problem. But when I have met with them, which I have, I told them that I thank them for their presence. If to say no international person or can yeah. Sometimes I go put gun away for let we vote out them and then we vote. Because the level of intimidation that we are seeing across the country is frightening. Waiting stop them for let them they go eat both. Now opposition stronghold, no more for let them cancel. And Kone has shown that he has that goal for let it go cancel areas of opposition stronghold. When sometimes that then very talks, they don't go cause problem now then voting box, then voting polling station and day. Can we have trust in the police and in the military to protect polling stations? History has proven that they are not fit, they are not committed to do that. Why do I say that? Because I witnessed it in constituency 110. Nobody was arrested. Polling boxes were smashed in full view of the public. And nobody was called to account. But there were people who spent months in jail. They said they go born Josephine Jackson in Motokana, Hamilton. There are people who spent months in jail in Pademba Road prisons for that. And for those who smashed ballot boxes, yang. So let us learn from the history of constituency 110. Let us learn from Tonko Limba. Let us learn from Samaya Bedugu. Let us learn from Makeni. Let us learn from so many places. We are going to have to be our own moral guarantors. Now, all man are journalists. When you see something, if you get for IBM in the blind, snap them. Take pictures. And when you take and send and also you get for send and let the world begin for steer. I believe that the ECSL already has a plan, and that plan does not favor opposition. How do we mitigate against that plan? We must force them to be transparent. You must publish the data register, the disaggregated data register. We must see it. As far as I am concerned, I will feel very uneasy going into an election as if they blindfold me. Going into an election blindfolded. When we have no trust, they have proven that they are not trustworthy. So what we need the international community to do now, and I'm talking of organizations like the UN, the UNDP, they want the way they put money per week. Let them call a round table, private, public. Let the opposition parties put their case. Let the government put their case. Let somebody mediate. Let us mediate before we have a Rwanda situation on our hands. Let us mediate before we have dead bodies littering our cities. All in the name of power. All that we in COP are asking for is transparent, free and fair elections, which will begin by having the system open up to all of us. Having the register open up to all of us. Having the software you're going to use open up to all of us. We are not asking you to go into your software.
Okay, I think she's frozen. We have, for our viewers, we have almost half an hour left. I think we also at this moment for acknowledge all the messages the way people are not send. We don't see one or two, and then talk about the opposition get for come too. So I think say now, as I say, Madam Femi, you don't do well. We not keep you for long, but let hand over to me co-host now, because in the legal man, because I'm going to ask you about this COP, the alliance, the legal basis, and how enough our COP will feel to say they can change or influence the election. Over to you, Mr. Chilon.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Mengot. I don't know if Ms. Cole, Claudius-Cole, hearing me, or is she still frozen?
I think she's still frozen.
Yeah, because I'm not going to pose the question unless she can hear what the question is going to be. So, control room, what we need to do to get her back on, or maybe she's gone off, so she may come back on.
I think she will come. Will come on.
Yeah, I can hear her voice now. Hello?
Yeah, I think she will come on. With all this technical, even me and I had yeah, she's back on. Madam Cole, can you hear us? Okay, yeah, she's back on, Mr. Chilon.
Okay.
That's what we do.
No, we understand.
Connection is unstable. So at the
We understand. So Mr. Chilon, over to you now. She's back on.
Okay. First of all, let me notify we listeners then. Again, if anyone that the mics are open, if anyone has any comments or question to be asked, please feel free to call. I know we already see a lot of postings about written comments there. But if anyone wants to call, the numbers that I give earlier, you're quite welcome to give a call and ask whatever question you want to ask. About going back to the ballot printing, there was a time in our country we get what you call the government printer's office. Who printed?
Are you able to hear me, or did you lose me again?
No, we can hear you now, loud and clear.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
No, she's frozen again. Well, our listeners and we viewers them, this thing do happen. We get interconnection difficulty. But the part I want to discuss with Madam Cole, Madam Femi Claudius-Cole, that's what we not even asked Charles Magai about. If you remember, when we began Charles Magai here the last time, he talked about this alliance of political parties. We know say even the ruling party now say don't get a strategic alliance with the Kande Yumkela. Then we get this alliance where Madam Cole been the chair, the COP, where for people that we don't know what's in a COP, C-O-P-P, capital C-O-P-P, na coalition of progressive political parties. So when you get all them company where they take place between the political party and different side. On the one hand, we get the ruling party where they attract the former leader KKY from NGC. Then they also get one man where the tell be the APC, he call himself the apprentice. Now we don't call himself the navigator. So we get the navigator don't for go through the new direction. We get the coalition. And I think while we wait for Madam Cole, I think say if the control room, if you I think say you can post some of them comments the way people and they make low react to them. Because we're not going to call. I think that they could be a good way for law interact, law acknowledge people them for let actually they take note of the thing the way they post. I control him this time. Yes, Mr. Shilon, I want to respond to this first one who gets there. We say, I do believe the international community are aware of the anomalies happening, but the opposition party must step up as this is their constitutional right to use peaceful protest without fear. You remember the last time we've been Canada, I want to give your legal opinion to this person who say, I would have Magai been talk about the distinction between protest and procession. So what you take and what you go and share with this text where they talk about say the opposition party there for step up their game and use their constitutional right to this peaceful process without fear.
Yeah.
So over to you. What you think about that?
Well, I very much agree with that. I'm very much in agreement. The only thing is, well, first of all, procession and protest at some points they can converge and become indistinguishable. Because, I mean, you get a procession where people don't have any slogans, just walk in the streets, probably decide to say, okay, we'll go wear white, we'll go wear black. We'll go just march in the streets with banners. That will be a procession, but it also will be a protest if one knows what the procession is all about. So at some point, for political purpose, they're interwoven. So that distinction they may not be as vivid as we may want it to be. But my problem is...
So I think our guest is back, so you can continue with this coalition thing, this coalition party. Madam Cole, can you hear us right now?
I can hear you. Now I'm on my phone.
Oh,
that's good. So Mr. Shilon, we got a question we want to pose on this coalition. Mr. Shilon, over to you.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. We're just kind of interested in knowing this coalition we're going to get with all what's going to happen in the country now. Is this doing too little, too late? Or what you want to foresee, what's the foreseeable outcome to whatever protest or objection that una might get to the current trend? And also, let me just box up one or two other things. We see, say, now we get a system. These are all the things we need for correction back home. We get a system where the police and the army are very much involved. Unless we reverse that trend in there, it will only get worse. I don't know why and Connie and others see some wisdom in holding such an important office, the ECSL office, and thinking that projecting the government of the day for be the favorite party where they want. I don't see how they see any redeeming value in that kind of a practice today. So again, I go back to the old thing. These guys don't come, they don't take political position, they don't take official positions for improve the system. So if everybody is coming to give advantage of those in power, it's clear there will never be any progress. You know, it will only be retrogression. So going back to the question about the political party alliance, I'm just trying to find out what effect, if any, when I will get on the outcome of the election, and or is it too little, too late?
Well, in terms of working, what we did as COP was to come out and actually endorse and support, declare our support for Dr. Samura Kamara and the APC party as a consortium. But remember that the APC has been a part of the consortium for a while. And prior to the institution of a PR system, we were all thinking creatively about how we could work together and not work against one another. That plan had been afoot. We were beginning to have discussions along those lines. But with the institution of the PR system, it changes the whole dynamic of how you can coalesce. You cannot, say for example, in Freetown, where you have 16 parliamentary seats now, we used to have 20, where we could say, well, APC, una stronger than we in Freetown, but we have 3 areas where UP is very strong. Can we contest 110? Can we contest 126 or whatever constituency? So don't challenge us there. We put all our energies there. You support us here. We support you there. So that was in the first past the post system. But in the system they have now, the younger or smaller political parties are out in the loop. We cannot contest. We barely can, if we say in Western Urban, where you have 40 council seats and this PR system that they've instituted says we must pay for all 80, 40 on the list 1 and 40 on the list 2. So I look at my membership, assuming I wasn't disqualified, and I look at my membership, I say, well, okay, would I go then at the first 20? Okay, all man they pay for instead of 600,000. But our nomination is invalid if we do not have the other 40 people. So who pays for the 40? Me not go and pay for go then at number 36 now you list of 40 people where almost people get for die for that take up position. All those ahead of me on the default list need to either die, resign or disappear. Then some get for the... So the PR system was a system designed to exclude smaller parties. So what options do we have as younger or smaller political parties working within the consortium? What we had always said we were going to do was to look within the consortium, agree on one presidential candidate and support that one presidential candidate. That was in the first past the post system. So what do we have now? We have a system where the voices of small political parties, their candidates cannot be heard. They have made it economically impossible for us to then say, okay, will they pay for all the women? Wow, that's a lot of women. We cannot afford to pay for all the women across the whole country. So for us, it was already in jeopardy, where we had decided we were going to focus on a couple of districts where we have strong representation and only contest in those areas. So by this institution of this PR, it was designed to exclude us anyway. It was designed to exclude younger parties. And when you do the statistics, when they will publish the list of all those contesting across the country, you're going to find that it's either those political parties that the SLPP has supported. They actually paid them. They actually gave them money for their nominations, because in some cases, we knew that some of them, there was no way they could afford to fill all the candidates in any area. How do we know that the SLPP had a hand in it? Watch the demographics. They only contested in areas of the opposition strongholds. None of these political parties contested in the Southeast. They didn't. So we know that there was a chief engineer orchestrating the whole thing. But even with that, there's poor representation from the younger parties. There is almost none in some districts. So ECSL has been working very hard. So we as COP have come out to say, look, the system has been designed to exclude us. Do we go and sit in a corner and not participate? But we have worked closely with the APC, and particularly closely with Samura Kamara and Mayor Ivana Kisoya. And we know what they represent. And we feel strongly enough about our interactions and our discussions with them to throw our wholehearted support behind Dr. Samura Kamara, behind the candidates of the APC. I want to see the back of this SLPP government. I want them, another 5 years of this kind of divisiveness, of this kind of toxicity, will lead to a very unsafe and unhappy and a miserable Sierra Leone. And I couldn't be a party to it. So I am prepared to campaign for, with, and support Dr. Samura Kamara, no matter what the results show. I think he's a superior candidate. He's more compassionate. He's more generous. He's more diligent. And I think what Sierra Leone needs now is a president with the heart and the soul for the people, that has a sympathy for the people, one that will come to see how best he can bring us all together, rather than one that is simply pounding the divisions. The them and us narrative, it simply has to stop.
As you say, the PR system, you think, say, was primarily designed or being implemented for suppress and restrain access to the electoral process by the electoral process by the smaller parties. So that's what the PR system does. Now, my thing is, I'm just suggesting, this is a suggestion, but there has to be sections in the Constitution that can provide remedies for such a calculated scam by the government or the PR system when they try to implement. Because my thing is, if lawyers are not begin to go into arguing constitutional issues, having restraining orders, I'll give you a good example. I don't know what kind of papers were filed, but lawyer Charles Magai, I think it was last Monday, maybe it was this past Monday. I think it was last. Yeah. Okay. Now, that matter has not come up. We have no idea when it's coming up. So, and I think they said the matchup can be heard 21 days before or after the election. Well, how can we have such a law? How can we have such a law? There has to be expedited process or processing of grievance. So my thing is, I just suggest that let the lawyer look into, like the PR system, once another figure out for, say, it's being abused and it's made to squeeze out other younger parties then. or smaller parties, we have to begin to look, because the only thing now and then I left, and at the courts. Unfortunately, the way the system did in Sierra Leone, I think the Chief Justice serves at the pleasure of the President. These are all the mistakes they would make. Because if the Chief Justice not gets the independence we need, if he is subject to the whim of the President, if he gets job insecurity, he is not going to rule objectively. So this is the problem. So I think it's about time we shift back. And of course, we cannot shift unless we change the laws. I've always suggested that there are some entrenched positions in the government where we can help the country a whole lot better, because Kenya seems to have done that. Positions such as Chief of Police, Chief Justice, Auditor General, and the ECSL person, they should not be subject to the whim of the President. The Constitution or the law provide clearly for say, once they are appointed, they cannot be fired except for whatever period of time they serve. Unless we can get back to them basic thing in there, because we have a situation now where the Auditor General was fired not because she did anything wrong, but because she caught the government lying, falsifying documents.
Yes.
You know? And the police chief would also weaponize the police. That the police think say then duty not to the party of the day. They don't even understand say then duty not to the country, to guard property and people. The army that should not even
Mr. Shillon, hold your thoughts there. We not get much phone call around, but one of we contributor ask one question what I think Madam Claudius answer for we, because I know. And he said, Madam Cole, judges have promised to fix the economy of Sierra Leone in 3 months. What's your take in that statement? Tell me about this bread and butter business, because you did a salon, you also an entrepreneur, they interact with women them.
Forget about bread and butter. Like I said, Pepe now they deal with now. And now he's promising now to fix it in 6 months.
Business.
I mean, the body if promises were horses, men would ride. If you observe the SLPP government, the SLPP as a party right now, when they say they stand up on a podium to campaign, they either A, dancing, B, blowing their mind, what we call blow mind. They either then they dance, then they blow mind, or then they talk about Adebayo. You know they catch them, they talk about waiting they don't accomplish, where for make that woman where they sell in a market where they wake 3 o'clock morning, go na Dove Court, go buy market for cancel. They know they tell her nothing where for make it able for vote for them. In the Southeast, then basically they try for tell and say if APC come, they kill, then they kill we all. Which is again not true. This cycle of do me or do you has to be broken. JJ Safa then promised we bakery, the promises, as I said, the promise and boku. But now it is time for una take una report card. Una go show una report card. Awala una give me second term. Look me report card. There's only so much dancing you can do. You dance stay at the end of the day, dollar still na 21,000 leos for $1. He let you dance stay 3,000 leons bread not a bell full. Small picking 3,000 leons bread not a bell fuller. He let you dance stay.
Sorry for interrupting. We get with first caller on the line. And this one a lucky man, because we don't almost done the program. Yes, Mr. Shillon, your normal guidance to the caller, sir.
Oh, okay. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where are you call from?
This one, I mean, now the ADC to the mommy, of course, ain't known already. me question or anyway, I want to thank una first. I mean, for the guests who are host. Now the only loyalist and patriot, politician this way don't ever exist in that country. All the rest, now for their own self-interest. And let me tell you now, this fight and the fight now against the nation because they don't know say people are aware now. Not to only for, this fight not to only for SLPTO, even both the APC as well. There are a lot of bad fish among them. Where they want to say, one, Samoa not succeed, and two, they want to fight against the nation so that we will still be they in that dark world where we use for day, where they don't put we into. West alone for being one of the number one in West Africa. In fact, I can say in Africa, where for them bridge all the loopholes that we blocked. But where are we today? We have a rich history. I think kind of people that we ever they pray for. I've been following her since I met with her. And I always day by her because I don't trust nobody again. We demand them hopefully don't disappoint the nation. We demand them, we hopefully, but Solomon, we are short-sighted people. We not like the truth. Now only sugar we like for leak. When they give me bamba a different thing. You know, it's sad. But if we not learn from this lesson now, where will they go through? An officer will go learn again. And yet still people are blind. You get I'm sorry for my French word, you get idiot people when educated people we still support them people with all their bad deeds. Look at the economy today. Ever since in the history, me since I come up I read about history, those alone not get history to start with. Because since I was in school to date, the only person who I know say the right history and in book not the two use in school when I Joe Ediale. I use this book, I think I read it in GSS, but it is not popular. And he's trying. We are not marketing our local stuff. Instead, we therefore we read things that we're not concerned with. Where are we going? We don't even know the direction. This government came, if I may not call them government, a cartel, bunch of criminals and liars, deceitful people. All they knew is how to propagate wrong information and lie in their broad light, as if people are not exist in the country, or as if we're still in the dark age. I'm so disappointed with anybody where they support this government. I stop for partake in this very program here because they encourage the likes of the Kutubu, where they can deceive people. But thank you guys that we are smart and take that action. Please try to invite more of short a person like this woman, Madam Cole, and the likes of the African Express. They have a lot, a whole lot. Saloma, we too weak for read. We know they read. And some might they read, they know they understand the content of what they read. That's our problem. That is, what we are facing today. A whole lot they follow Adebayo. Adebayo is not part of the government. I can't say he's not in, he's playing his own part, but there are some things the way they say it is wrong. And he's okay, I will call back. I'm sorry, it's like I've run out of time.
Okay. Do we have another caller? Yeah, I think we have another caller.
Hello, caller. What's your name? Where are you to call from? Yes. Go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, caller. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm at the tell you now. Thank you for this program. Now so we because what are the time for talk? That mommy, Madam Cole, let God continue for bless him. Now, mommy, is it me if I for this alone, me for be one of infants that will go stand for them. I did tell you, and I'm glad the way we support Samura Kamara. I know say this woman he didn't any parliament. I know so. But the way I see and the way he done the work, I know say that particular area, go work well, and all the intimidation wouldn't be the game. Look at all the other parties then we stand. In get crown pass them. I know say a part of APC, SLCC, C4C, after 9. In get population. Why they go accept? They say all the rest of the party then comply. They say Madam Cole no comply. It's a lie. They just people say this man are a big obstacle to them. Now a big obstacle to them. I make them just side and eliminate them out of the race. But who they just tell them, lay patient, God will see them through. Let continue for fight. Now, so, people, thousands of people in the now. You see, so we really appreciate them. Let God continue for bless them and give them the wisdom for help push Salon go before. And they tell una thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, caller. We almost come towards the end. Do we have any more caller? Do we have any more caller on the line?
It looks that way. Hello, caller.
Yes, I'm on the line.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Let me turn my own sound down. Okay, I don't turn off. Yes, how are you guys doing?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Yeah, thank you. This is my first time. I did watch the program now. I've been just want to make some comments and ask some questions. Me and possible we don't live out of the. I did call from Freetown. Okay. I did call from Freetown, and the comment I want to make. My experience with politics and election at Salon is one of always blaming the one who've been in power when the new government come, and that kind of comparison there. But waiting another year is usai we for pull the money as a country, our revenue generation, usai we revenue the come out na Salon for let the country improve. Because when you look at the revenue stream, because if you're not able to make the money, then stories no more the politician than the give. We cannot develop this country through handouts. So why are we, as a gold producing and diamond producing country for the last 100 years, we not get stock of them product and they we for support with currency? I want to know that. Because if we talk about this party and this leader and that leader, we don't serve for the last 50 years, we are not going to go anywhere. Politicians, for them, nobody to talk about the national interest. About 33% of we revenue in this country, they come out from taxes from the port. Then the other services them another 30-something%. So where do we get the money to run Salon? The money not there. Are you getting me clearly?
Yes, we do.
Loud and clear.
Okay. Yeah, so the money not there. So all these politicians, they will come and tell you stories. That is the pattern. Now the person will not see it for tell we who side and the pull with money. The Bretton Woods institution, the FALA, the World Bank, and the IMF, they are not helping us. They are an hindrance. Then they put things that we neck we're not able to touch. Because they don't tell we say we not for benefits from we mines. They don't tell we say the country not for do any other kind of thing. So when I for sovereign institution. So where are we going to get the money? This man come, he say, I go do this. This man come, he go take loan for build this. This man come, he go beg yonder for build this. That it is in disarray. I really like the stand where Mrs. Cole take, but it is all out here to some certain extent. You still need to generate revenue for run a country. Where is it coming from? We don't have an ounce of gold or a 10-carat diamond where then we reserve. We'll go take support with currency. So what are we to do? Look at what is happening in East Africa. You go see the disconnection where they try to make in their economy from this World Bank and ITF conundrum. It is not going to work. It really is not going to work. Look at our mining sector. Now, the last group will come now they manage give we 10% of what in they sell. The other ones give us this colonial term, what they call royalty. Royalty for something we get, so all of that is mixed up. But these guys are not talking about it because when the next government come or whoever, they are milking from those sources. They are milking from these sources. When they sign these contracts, if you see the contract, you go cry. There is nothing there for the country. Yeah, it's absolutely nothing. So these are the issues that we should focus on. It is not about Samura. It is not about Bio. It is not about Mrs. Cole. It is about a program that will yield the dividends. What would they look for in this country? You
don't reach the limit if I far exceed the limit. So please, we'll get some more callers then. Make we switch, but your points are well taken. I want to appreciate you participation and you taking the time to listen to the program. Thanks a lot. And we're almost out of time.
Add to that before you get the next caller, let me assure this caller say we will get a special program on the economy where we will get for discuss these issues that it raise. So that
and you get something that say you need without good leadership, nothing happens.
That's correct.
Okay, let's get this one caller before
Hello, caller. What's your name? Where's you call from? Hello, caller. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, sir.
Hello. Can you hear me? Voice of Salon?
Yes, clearly.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. This now, Abdullah Sisse from New Jersey, US.
All right, Abdullah, welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shilon, Mr. Mengot, and Madam Femi Claudius-Cole. That is this opportunity for say I'm very, very honored for talk on a TV program directly to Madam Femi Claudius-Cole today. I've been following her on Twitter and my admiration for you. You're unexplainable. And I want to thank you for your service to the nation. Continue the good job. And I pray God give well body and long life. One person we forget to Nana Sierra Leone. I say all the problem will cry for so today. Nobody cry for them to the extent to which we do. That said, I just want to say, I think this will go for Mr. Shilon. I understand Mr. Charles Magai in court in request or whatever case he present to the courts. Again, from the court's procedure or the constitution format requires 21 days for them to look into. I just want to say, Dr. Samura says in request we make to ECSL, all of them here come in play. If there is no way this Sierra Leone constitution and the judiciary will look into critical cases of them where the only option available is for wait for 21 days, which incidentally means the elections then for them over by then. I want to know if there is no other options available. And this now for Mr. Shilon. And the second part, again, this we have to do with legal thing. The president make blatant claims for the first time after 5 years. I really don't know the level of desperation of him this time. For 5 years, say ex-presidents, they undermine the peace and stability of the country. You claim, you get evidence to the effect. Ever point out. Now, only after 5 years, and after after the opposition don't make the strongest request yet to the ECSL, that if they not present or respond to them request they are, then we'll take a further action, where then we'll call for protest, then we'll do this or that. So I want to know, just because I'm also the president, they will indict him where is sitting, but I want to know if them kind of way is say get evidence, an allegation over an ex-president, it's not something we the court system or the judiciary gets an obligation for looking to, or maybe at least the police, because we don't see people make verbal statements then. Now, in the past 5 years, then get arrested, investigated, some are even locked up. But this now the president, I want to know, say they're not going to indict them definitely. But I want to know if the police not get an obligation for looking to a situation of this, maybe not now, but after he's out of office. But this now blatant allegation, we get the potential for plunge the country into chaos, because if you the station, you get to support them, especially the disturbed one them logically get the same mindset. I'm not can imagine what will be the action. That is why we get this division we will experience within the country. So I need an answer to that. Because the first lady young claim about video, when they go meet him on the net, and I'm not going to talk about them until he presents them. I'm not saying people are going to listen all of that. The only bad thing, some of the information there, then they take then supporters, then they take a hook, line, and sinker. That's not the only disturbing thing, because it contributes to the instability we get in the country. Thank you very much.
All right. Okay, sir. Let's go to the next caller. Hello, caller. What's your name? Listen, the next caller will be the last call. Take it. Hello, caller. What's your name?
Hello?
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 Hello, caller.
Yes, go ahead. We are hearing you
Hello?
loud and clear. Name and where you
Yes,
calling
sir.
from.
We can hear you.
Hello, Lawyer Shillon. Is this Lawyer Shillon?
Yes, sir. Yes, this is Lawyer Shillon.
Okay. Now they get me loud and clear?
Very much so.
Okay, just a quick one. I know one thing about, say, power. Now for SARS, whenever you attain to any level in life, you have the right to serve the people then. And also, you get the right for listening to people. Not everybody in world get to move you, but everybody in world seems safe for be listening to, because one way or the other you the pick from within the person they say. But when you get a president, when it's done, a lot is for the past 5 years within this particular platform. I remember the time when me and Kutubu all on this platform, when they talk anything serious, now for say different words them against the former president. I remember one time when me all on here, so yeah. Now this is campaign time. I believe say if it is space for me open for every Sierra Union say we're not active for full. What you need for do, get them all for come in. Let everybody operate on their own waiting and sabi, but make them not go beyond the law na the particular country. But you lock all sides. You try for muscle everybody. They beat and lock up everybody. How you expect for succeed in life? Few days ago, I see Mother Bill, they turn up the campaign up and down na salon. But first time, Mother Bill no me they talk, then say how then get president we know they talk na cyborg na this na that. When Mr. Cyborg they outside now, the 9 day on the rain, all thing they campaign. Enough when they don't turn up on the rain, anything in a cyborg, right? Let me talk again.
Yes.
You cannot you begin to talk different words then against people then. Mother Bill come and campaign to we about what thing you don't do, what thing you plan for do, and how you plan for bring the entire Sierra Leoneans together. Some of we within a different tribe, but we friends them all from the other tribe then. And I never see from when I born, say I don't big so the division within a salon. Up to this time with Mother Bill, na inna the president for the past 5 years. What we need to be afraid of when Samura come, if nine gets putting up, I pray that God give them the wisdom for incorporate all Sierra Leoneans. You be Limbao, you be Mindeo, you be Timinio, you be Cranco. We all just need for come together because we get all similarity among races. All this fight, Fatima Bio, they talk, say how people and they go Femi man. Fatima Bio, if people and go Femi man, they get all the rights of go Femi man. You know why? Because he is the president. If you matter Bio, if you didn't have the opposition side or you didn't have the ruling side, you didn't have the opposition side, if you the man I'm friend, I just get to go Fenam. There is no need for come begin talk, say, I will prove and video them outside. Well, it is side by crime day, then go side by when you do that. Now that's me get for free. But one more thing before ever close. Power, not a powder. If you're not so power, the less person they become jittery inside. It just a complain. It don't lost in your own sense of ruling or in your own sense of anything like how mother they do now. Me I no wanna power this, Mr. Shillon. 5 years, we may they go up and down. 5 years, we may they say the 2 years so. At least una listening for once, not to all waiting una feel say una land na school, una college, una they meet down na the floor. Waiting you learn na college, na application where you can do. Remember, knowledge is not wisdom. Wisdom is from above, which is common sense. And the Bible warns you. It says, in all you're getting, get wisdom. And not say get knowledge, it says get wisdom. Because wisdom is the common sense for anyone. All will see things. And read them from the
thank you very much. I think we'll get the buzz away now. We get the buzz out. Thanks for your contribution. We get the buzz away now. Also, thank you.
You're welcome,
also,
sir. You're
Madam
welcome.
Cole. Madam Cole, we thank you very much.
But
you don't
can she give a closing? Can she give a closing?
No, now finish, Mr. Shillon. You know, say you come out, but me come off full at home. We all get the alpha. Which I want to say to Madam Cole. Remember when we in this school, they do some essay. They say your life as a pen. Yeah, your life was different objects. Now, for your closing remarks, we will ask you if you were president. Yes, for close. If you were president, what thing that anything that waiting at the shy we go bring for salon people then? As you close.
You are muted. You are muted. You muted.
I think you're muted.
You are muted.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. So let me assume say the election happens Saturday, I contest and I win. What would be the first things that I would pay close attention to? I cannot but say one of my biggest unhappiness right now being a Sierra Leonean living in Sierra Leone is the division. One of the first things that we really get for focus on is how do we change our rhetoric so that everybody gets included. Everybody feels a sense of belonging. That feeling of fear is eliminated from our lives. Where all man feel like I said this and Mr. Alone. And to steal from Samura Kamara, the way he ended his presentation of his manifesto, my Sierra Leone, my responsibility. For a leadership for Sierra Leone and Sierra Leoneans as my responsibility. Una sick, una not able to afford medicine, it's my responsibility. You go to the market and you cannot afford to buy food to feed your kids, it's my responsibility. How does that impact all the policies, all the things that you have to do? From the little things to the big things. Changing, for me, it is not about amending our constitution anymore. It is about a new constitution for a new Sierra Leone, where power is given where power should be given, and independence given where independence should be given. Things where they impact the lives of Sierra Leoneans right now, I can tell you, one, apart from their safety, their transportation, their schooling. I mean, you listen to students and you feel heartbroken. So some things we're going to have to do simultaneously. One, why is it that the cost of living has skyrocketed? Never mind the international shocks, the COVID, the Ukraine. Clear a container na Wataki and you will know. I tried to do it on one occasion and I'm like, Lord have mercy. Something where you don't buy for $1, where you can easily able for sell for maybe 40 or 50,000 units, you cannot afford once you clear from Wataki. So we must look at the ports. What are the issues in the ports and what are the issues among importers? We must look at the revenue that we can collect. Why should it be one person collecting all the revenue for our timber? We're already beginning to have the effects of global warming, and only one leadway is they're the only ones making money from our timber. The fishermen at the ports are all crying. The trawlers are trawling the big fish, the little fish, the babies, the eggs, then they troll everything. So those are things that have to be looked at simultaneously. But the issues that make Sierra Leoneans comfortable in their own country. For let us say, police stop me. It treats me as if I'm a human being. Whether I'm an Okada at a ride, whether I have committed a crime or not. I have a case that goes to court and it is adjudicated fairly, whether I am rich or whether I am poor, whether I am powerful or I am powerless. Those are some of the issues where they affect with daily life. Somebody can me go court. It can be go court because I deflate in tire because a parking car right front me, right in front of my house. I come on a clinic, I dey rush for can and host for can do something for go back to the hospital. I couldn't enter my house. It's saying go to tell our neighbor, and there's parking spaces all along side street, but it choose for park front me because it can go court. It can go court. And I was pleased that I ended up having to go to magistrate court because whilst I did do my own case, I was listening to other cases. And I say, Lord, have mercy. Poor people let they suffer at the judiciary they earn. Well, mommy, it's inapte, they're not a griller, you sit down, they're not a griller, you can't go, you can't sit down. Well, mommy, it's inapte, it faints. So I said, God wanted me to be in this court so I could see the suffering of the poor when they try to get justice. And I listened to cases where they come, why Sasidon, and they listened to cases, and I wept. I don't get patients where I go take blood for. Eventually, I donated my own blood. So there are so many areas that are fixable, that we don't need international donors to give us a lot of money. We just need the institutions to function. Just to function. For less no man feel say, yes, if I want to go register my business, I can go register. If I not get money, but me pick smart, he clever, he able to get into college. I apply for a job. I'm not saying I'm the best candidate, and I get it. Not because I'm from the right town, not because I'm from the right tribe, not because I speak the right language, but because I'm the best candidate. Those things do not need international intervention. It needs us being our own moral guarantors. So there are many areas. Whoever it is that wins has to hit the ground running. If it is the SLPP, may the God help us, and may the good Lord help Sierra Leone.
Well, thank you very much, Brother Claudius-Cole. So I can hand you to my big brother, the co-host now, for give your own part in short and extend the hand of friendship and appreciation from VOS TV network. You see, say you come the amount of people that will call and tell you how the good work they be. In fact, somebody accused me self when I write and say me want pull a human hand. So my hands are clean. So over to you, Mr. Shillon.
I see him. But you know what seems like, let us say this. This government hold on for 5 years. Then talk about women's empowerment. They talk about a Giwi bill where they can't give women their representation, then they can't put power on a woman they earn. They don't mean any of it. It is all of us. Now what namot? They want a woman who is subdued, a woman who is calm, a woman who is pliable, a woman who just agrees with everything. When you challenge them, oh, you are aggressive. When you really challenge them, when you hold them to account, you are disqualified. So they're not
Thank you,
ones
Mr. Shillong.
and the ones the really soft ones who we know our place. Now that kind of woman they the ones. So when I get compliments from men, they appreciate them a lot. I really do appreciate it because for me, I feel like I'm an ambassador for the women now. Where you go say you became one going to politics. No, dear, you know Sweden they arrest them, mommy. But they did all that to me, and they knocked me down, but they didn't knock me out. So I really appreciate those compliments. They mean a lot, and it keeps you going. Because for the past couple of days, I can be very honest with you, I've been really depressed. I've been depressed for my country. I've been depressed for the future of my country. So those compliments, they give you a boost. So I want to tell and thank you. You're not able to put me now, you are not afraid.
Yes, Mr. Shillong. Mr. Shillong, we can't hear you. You're muted.
We've gone, thank you. We've gone past the time limit for the show, but I just want to express my sincere appreciation, and for the appearance of Madam Femi Claudius-Cole on our show, because she's of such importance in the political discourse in Sierra Leone that we think, we would have been derelict in our duty for exposed politicians and to the people that we didn't bring such a person. So in that regard, we are highly, highly appreciative of your presence. And we hope you will come back because we know after the elections or even before the elections, if they are successful in putting it off, we're going to need somebody like you again. So we're looking forward to seeing you again. Thank you so much, ma'am.
And thank you too for thinking about me and for inviting me. May God bless you all.
You're quite welcome.
Well, fumble them, they say all good things must come to an end. Me, as usual, me in a Fulatong Piki, Victor Akumengot, they say, well, this week where they cancel are trying times for our country. Lord pray for people them. Let God guide them. The politician them, let them left gragra. Let them work in the interests. For the people that go vote, you know they go vote for APCO, you know they go vote for SLPP. You go vote for your future. So we're watching a keenly until we come back. I'll say let get a productive week and let God remove anxiety pain and let God give a trouble-free country. And me they say goodbye until we meet next week again.